Neuroencoding XVII scientifically uncovers summit phenomena and occult neuroencoding that scientists and the mind have ignored. This time, Miracle Mocchi gets to the bottom of the truth about monoliths that have appeared all over the world. I think anyone will be convinced once they know the conclusion, so please watch until the end. What is a monolith? In archaeology and geology, the word monolith means a giant, single rock, and refers to a structure made up of a single large rock. Famous examples include Ayers Rock, a famous single rock in Australia, and Devil's Tower, a giant rock tower in the United States. In addition, the Egyptian obelisks and the stone bridge, as well as some of the later structures, are also called monoliths. Here are two representative structures that can be called monoliths in nature. First, let's take a look at Devil's Tower in the United States, which was the filming location for his encounter with the unknown. According to Wikipedia, Devil's Tower is a rocky mountain located in northeastern Wyoming, USA. It was designated as the first national monument in the United States in 1906. It is a landform called an I-shape, which appears on a landmark as underground magma cools and solidifies, resulting in long-term erosion. The elevation is 1,558 meters, but the altitude from the base is about 386 meters. The summit is said to be 91 meters by 55 meters. It became widely known after Steven Spielberg's 1977 film Close Encounters of the Universe featured it as the place where cosmic rays fell. It is said that 400,000 tourists visit annually, and 4,000 attempt to reach Tokyo. Next is Ayers Rock in Australia. According to Wikipedia, Ayers Rock is the second largest monolith in the world, located on the Australian continent. Ayers Rock is called Pichancharo by the indigenous Aborigines, but it is also widely known as Ayers Rock. It was discovered in 1873 by Australian explorer William Gosse during an expedition, and was named after Henry Ayers, the then Premier of the South Australian Territory. It was registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a Mixed Heritage Site in 987. Ayers Rock is often introduced in books, websites, and on TV as the world's largest monolith, but Mount Augustus, also located in Western Australia, is about 2.5 times larger than this monolith, making Mount Augustus the world's largest monolith. Speaking of monoliths, the mysterious object in 2001, A Space Odyssey, based on the original novel by Arthur C. Clarke, is a black slab-shaped object that appears in the film directed by Stanley Kubrick. It is written as a tool created by an alien intelligence, and acts as a trigger to promote the evolution of humanity, such as giving intelligence to engines. Purpose of the monolith in the film and novel 2001, A Space Odyssey. The main purpose of the monolith is depicted as fostering intelligent life and promoting its evolution. It is not merely an observer, but rather plays the role of a booster accelerator for evolution and a set test. We will explain in 3 stages how it specifically became involved with humanity. 1. Awakening of intelligence in the film 2001. A Space Odyssey, the monolith appears at the beginning of the dawn of humanity and interferes with the ancestors of humanity, who were still engineers. He worked on the brains of the suffering engines and taught them to use bones as tools and weapons. This gave humanity the means to burn, eat meat, and protect themselves from the outside world. In other words, it gave them the first step in the terrain to win the struggle for survival. 2. Confirmation of the arrival of civilization. The monolith PMA-1 excavated on the Moon was an alarm to confirm that humanity had the technology to reach the Moon. The moment it was exposed to sunlight, it transmitted powerful radio waves to Saturn, in the movie version, Jupiter. It served as a beacon to inform the alien creations that humanity had reached the stage where they could leave Earth and advance into space. Three. Evolution beyond the physical body. The giant monolith encountered near Jupiter towards the end of the story becomes a gate that leads humanity to the next stage. It invites the protagonist, Captain Bowman, to another dimension and gives him an experience that transcends time and space. Ultimately, Bowman takes on a physical body and evolves into a star child, a being of pure spiritual energy. This suggests humanity's ultimate form of evolution, liberation from material constraints. Monoliths are the rich ingredients of the universe. Author Arthur C. Clarke describes the beings who control monoliths as cultivating the stars. These star childs travel the universe, planting the seeds of intelligence, watching them grow, and sometimes performing the deeds or successors. In other words, monoliths are not meant to control humanity, but rather to be an educational and guidance system for increasing the number of intelligent life forms in the universe. The true nature of Earth's monoliths. Mysterious metallic monoliths were discovered one after another in various parts of the world from 2020 to 2021, causing a great deal of discussion. Their appearance, reminiscent of 2001, A Space Odyssey, led to many speculating that they were the work of aliens. We will now present a table of the main monolith-like objects discovered around the world. We will introduce the main locations where they were discovered and their true natures, using representative examples. The first artificial monolith was discovered in November 2020 on a rocky outcrop in the Utah Desert in the United States. It is a triangular metal pillar approximately 3 meters high. This monolith-like object was later removed by the general public. Next up is a monolith-like object discovered in Romania in November 2020. It appeared near the pre-Christian ruins of Hyetrenemus. It had a distinctive pattern of flaming fire on its surface. It was reportedly removed by an unknown party a few days later. Extraterrestrial monolith. Objects called monoliths outside Earth are so called by SFA in reference to the mysterious stone in 2001, A Space Odyssey, but in reality, distinctive terrain and giant rocks have been photographed by probes on Mars and its moon Phobos. The two main ones known to date are as follows. Phobos monolith. This is the most famous monolith. It is located on the surface of Phobos, the first moon of Mars. It was discovered in images taken by NASA's Mars Global Surveyor probe in 1998. It is a large monolith-like structure that protrudes from its surroundings, reaching a height of approximately 85 to 90 meters. Nearby is the large Stickney crater, and it appears to be standing alone in a spot close to the circle. 2. Martian monolith, a rectangular object found at the foot of a cliff near the Hellas Planitia on the surface of Mars. The image was taken around 2007 by the HiRISE camera on NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO. From above, it looks like a perfectly rectangular rock standing on its surface, and its shadow is also straight, giving the impression of being an artificial object. The true nature of the extraterrestrial monoliths. Many scientists believe that the monolith on Phobos, a moon of Mars, is a fragment of ejecta that was thrown off by the giant impact that formed Stickney crater. Phobos has extremely weak gravity, so large rocks like this can sometimes end up on slopes or in nearly vertical positions. Since Apollo 11 astronaut Buzz Aldrin mentioned its existence on a TV program, it has increasingly been discussed in the context of cocarditis and conspiracy theories, but NASA treats it as a natural feature. The Martian monolith is actually a giant rock that has been fractured into a supersized shape. It has been concluded that in this area of Mars, rocks that fell from a volcano, which is a natural feature of the Earth, were accidentally cut into a perfect straight line. It is also possible that the image resolution, which is limited to 1 pixel equals approximately 30 centimeters, has caused the fine irregularities to disappear, making the monolith appear smooth. Why are they attracting so much attention? In addition to the fact that these objects are a topic of conversation due to a type of psychological phenomenon called pareidolia, which causes familiar shapes to appear in a sea of chaotic information, there are the following reasons. The reason is that when photographed at a low sun angle, the shadows cast by the rocks are extremely long, making them appear to be larger and more impressive structures. Another reason is that the rocks are mistaken for being alien and gigantic structures because there are no trees or buildings around them to compare them to. Psychological background to this monolith commotion. The mysterious monolith commotion that caused a stir around the world from the latter half of 2020 to 2021 has become a strange boom that mixes fantasy and reality, coupled with the abnormal social situation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. We will explain in detail the major discoveries that have been discovered so far and the truth behind them, using representative examples. There were more than 200 reports of major discovery sites from 2020 to 2021, and more than 200 cases were reported worldwide in the months after the initial discovery. Among these, the cases that have attracted particular attention are as follows. The monolith fad began on November 18, 2020, when a helicopter investigating wild sheep in Utah, USA, discovered the object. It is a stainless steel monolith-like object approximately 3 meters high, fastened with rivets. In fact, satellite photos have shown that it had been installed since around 2016. Another one appeared in Piatra Neamț, Romania on November 27 of the same year, shortly after the one in Utah, USA, disappeared. It had a handmade circular pattern drawn on its surface. It has been revealed that this latest object was either an artwork or a prank created as a tribute to the film 2001, A Space Odyssey. The most famous artists, an American artist group, got involved and claimed that the one in Toyosu was their own work, and began selling it for $45,000. The reason why the copycat imitation method has spread around the world is that it was mostly installed as a secondary search by local enthusiasts and public offices who wanted to make their own after it became a hot topic on social media. There are also cases where it has been used for advertising and promotion, such as in the case of Turkey, in conjunction with national projects and corporate campaigns. Why has it become so popular? The reason this commotion has grown so much is because of the unique timing of 2020. Reality escaping entertainment and the thrill of sci-fi movies have become the best pastime for people all over the world amid ongoing lockdowns and movement restrictions. The exploits of online detectives who use Google Earth to identify coordinates just hours after a property have garnered further attention. The monolith in Toyosu was removed at night by local residents who advocated for environmental protection. The dramatic nature of this appearance and disappearance has continued to attract people's interest. The monolith boom that followed began around spring 2021, with new monoliths appearing at times when people have actually forgotten about them. The most recent was discovered in Las Vegas in June 2024, which has once again become a topic of conversation. Conclusion: considering the above and thinking calmly and scientifically, the artifacts are environmental artworks based on the psychological background of the previous art, or the work of magicians or people who violate the law. In addition, natural terrain and objects such as monoliths on other planets are examples of a psychological phenomenon called pareidolia, in which giant rocks that have naturally formed in special environments are found in indeterminate and meaningless objects, such as familiar objects or human faces. This is a cognitive bias in which the brain tries to interpret information as meaningful, and is frequently experienced in everyday life. It is the psychology of finding familiar patterns in meaningless information. The psychology of trying to read messages to humanity or advanced intelligence into a simple lump of iron plate came into play. In addition, it was just the right thing to use as a distraction from the harsh realities of infectious diseases and political unrest. It functioned as an irreplaceable mystery. With people divided by the coronavirus pandemic, monoliths became one of the few positive and mysterious common objects that could be discussed on a global scale, asking what they were. Furthermore, the spread of social media has further accelerated the psychological heat of treasure hunting and the desire to bear witness in the digital age. Taking a photo in front of a monolith and uploading it to social media has become a kind of status symbol. The background to this is the modern desire to bear witness, to show oneself as someone who is in contact with a mystery, rather than the mystery itself. The imitators had a trickster-like mentality, enjoying watching the world in chaos. It is also thought that they gained a psychological sense of omnipotence by participating as a kind of superiority over existing authority in the boring everyday life, or as art. The most important point is that the monolith incident was a harmless mystery that appeared in an anxious time. It can be said that people shared the sense of urgency among the people by deliberately being fooled, even though they knew somewhere in their hearts that this was just a work of art or a prank. If you would like to watch videos like this, please subscribe to the channel before you forget. Furthermore, if you click the bell icon, you will be notified when a video is published, so you can watch your favorite videos without missing the latest ones. Please leave a high rating and supportive comment as it encourages me to make videos. I read all the comments. Thank you for watching until the very end. See you next time. Bye bye.